Welcome to episode 2 in the series. We're going to create the art, deliver the piece, and maybe kick a little glass. Let's head inside the shop. I am ready to get started on this piece. I hope you are. So first thing I do when I'm creating a piece is I work on my mirror layout. Along with the guidelines, that also gives me a really good foundation to start things off right and make sure everything is straight to my eye. One of the toughest things for me in making a mosaic is blending that color. And that really falls along the lines of how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. You'll notice something in my right hand, and that is my glue. I will use the bag of glue to kind of plaster the back of my pieces instead of using, say, a paintbrush or even just the caulk gun itself. Just really helps keep the pieces clean and not overused, but still use enough glue. I love seeing this perspective of the art because I'm normally making it at eye level. It's kind of like a football coach seeing the game from up in the press box. Moving along quite nicely here. I'm liking the blend. I'm liking the intersperse of the colors flowing into each other. Really gives it a nice radiance on top of the iridescence and the mirror and everything else that's going on in the mosaic. A nerve-wracking time when I'm working with such a big piece of art is when I have to move it around the table. Oh, just to be so careful with someone's art is such a big responsibility. It's at this point in the piece that I have to remind myself it is a marathon, not a sprint. And as much as I want to see the finished piece and I'm so excited to see it done, I really have to take my time towards the end so that last piece gets the same attention and care as that first piece did in my excitement to start the piece. I really love how the overall feel of the piece is. Even before it's completely done, I just really get a good sense I'm going to like the color flow. I haven't seen the light coming through, but I know from what I see on top that I'm going to like what I see when that light does shine through. And here we go, the absolute last piece. Put a little glue there, make sure I get that right. And some extra taps for continued prosperity. And there we go, the glass work is done. Now, let's move on to grouting. Let's get this grout session started. I like to keep my grout at about a peanut butter consistency. Just depends on what I'm grouting at the time. So the glass, I'm going to be a little bit stiffer of a grout. When I get to the center, I'm going to be a little bit looser, and that's going to help me get into all those crevices without having to dig out a bunch of grout in the end. Now, if you saw my first video, I talked a little bit about my grouting technique. That video has since gone viral. At least in my head, it's viral, because I can't stop thinking about it. And in that video, I talked about my grouting technique, which is the Mr. Miyagi. If you'll remember from the movie, he was all about the wax on and the wax off. And as you'll see as I move around the piece, I'm doing pretty much the same motion. When I'm getting into those little spaces in the center, not so much, but especially in those big areas, I will use that wax on, wax off motion. You may have wondered how we got the size of the glass. Steve actually got up onto a ladder and cut out a cardboard template. And I took that template down to my local glass shop. Shout out to Bruce's Glass in Fremont, Michigan. So what I was doing right there is, when I'm getting towards the end of the grout, I'll just dump a quarter of the bucket on the piece, especially a big piece like this, and then I will mix my next batch of grout to finish and have it setting up while I'm finishing using up the rest of my grout. I've made my grout work a lot easier for myself. We used to have about a 1/4 inch grout space on the edge of all the art, and then we would fill that edge in with grout. Now we actually work to the edge, so there is no grout on the edge, and it just gives it a nice clean look along the edge and makes my grouting experience much more enjoyable. Getting ready to move this big piece around, and it's just so impressive to move such a big piece of art, and I'm just really careful to support it as I come off the edge, and I never leave too much of an edge hanging off at one time. I do have to have a little bit of an edge hanging off just so I can finish right up to it, but those are always nervous moments for sure. I don't know if you caught that little piece of sandpaper, but that's what I'm doing right now, is just giving the edge a sand to take the burr off, so when we're moving it or whenever you have to touch it, it's not going to cut you like a clean cut piece of glass would. And it just is something for my customers, for myself, keep the piece safe whenever we're transporting it or moving it. You'll also notice as I move forward, a lot of times I'm moving back and looking on pieces and checking out areas, and I will get done with a piece that I thought I grouted and I will find a section completely ungrouted. So it's funny how your eye plays tricks on you and gives you a comfortable sense of finishment, if you will, and then you notice you aren't finished at all. I'm going to continue to wipe down the grout. If there's any glue I see that maybe seeped between the pieces during the drying process, I'm going to go ahead and take a razor and pull that out. Make sure I have complete grout coverage. After I wipe the piece down with the grout, I'll let it dry for 35-40 minutes, and I'll come back with a cloth and buff out the haze that appears. It's a nice waiting game between if you do it too soon, then you pull too much grout out. If you wait too long, your grout removal of that haze takes a lot longer. So it's just a finesse thing over time. Let's move on to the last step in our process, painting the grout. Because I use the piece as a canvas, I start with my lightest colors first. So you'll see I'm working on yellow, and then I'll move into the darker colors. The nice thing about using the artist canvas is I can mix colors right on the piece. And so a lot of times where I will just use the red and the yellow, and in between I'll mix orange. Now in this particular case I'm actually mixing colors because there's such a large area. But where it really is nice is when I start mixing in the greens into those other colors, and it really helps blend the piece a lot better and makes the paint flow a lot smoother. I'm always careful to get the edge because there is a little bit of grout in some spots on the edge, and so instead of having a white edge in places, I really like to have just a little bit of extra coverage. That's probably more for me than the customer, but it's important. The finishing touch on all of our grout is a nice iridescent of some sort. This was a really cool kind of color shifting iridescent, and it just really adds a nice sparkle and shimmer when that light of the evening hits it from your interior lights. Tools of my trade for cleaning off mosaics that have paint on it is going to be a cloth, some Windex, a sharp razor, and maybe a magic eraser. But it's magic, so I can't tell you. Getting into the blue here, and I'm trying to even out as I move through. I don't want too much of one color. And I'm getting it up into those areas, into the reds and the oranges. And as I wipe it off, you're going to see a nice kind of covering and a blending of those two colors. And it really helps to even out as they move into each other. And now, just to wipe down, get rid of that excess paint. I'm going to finish the art off with the same iridescence that I was using for the center, just in blues and aquas and greens to really send home that nice brilliance. Again, when the light, as we're seeing it, is directly on the art, as it would be at night. Windex is my special helper, but the key to a clean mosaic is ultimately elbow grease and a dry clean t-shirt. If you'd like to take a 1,000-mile journey, may I recommend staying closer to home and cleaning a mosaic, because that feels like a journey that will never end. The minute you think you have everything off the glass, 10 more spots pop up to show you you are certainly incorrect. I'm really thrilled with how this project turned out. I love the color flow, I like the spread, the ability to add pieces that were handmade by the artists that I have so much respect for in that family. Just really made the piece all that much better. Here's the art on its way down to its new home. We've known Steve and his sons for a long time, so getting to meet and work with Janelle, his wife, was such an honor. When we do commission work, I always let my customers know I am an artist, not an installer. And this clearly illustrates why I do not like to install art, especially big art in high places. The placement here serves two purposes. Not only to enhance the beauty of the living room, but also diffuse a lot of that western sun that comes in about the 5 o'clock hour, especially in the summertime. The unsung hero of our art has to be the nighttime view. When your lights are on during the evening and you're outside or you're coming home, it is like a burst of energy that just really can't be described. When the light's coming through our art, whether it be from the front or the back, it pretty much looks the same either way, and I just love that quality about our work. This was an incredible opportunity, an incredible project. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. I want to thank you so much for joining me in the Dragonfly Garage today. I have lots more videos on the way, so stay tuned. Go ahead and hit that like button for me, and then smash that subscribe. Hey, don't forget to check us out on all the socials.